thanks to Dr. Ambedkar that India is, existing as a one country because of the constitution he drafted.
Yes.
He is the architect of Indian constitution. He was fighting with some people and somehow he wanted to ensure that there won't be any division in India. Only our opinion. The world historians have recognized, accepted the most righteous emperor who had ruled a country in this world was King Emperor Ashoka. The other reason is that he had a very strong connection with Sri Lanka because our king Devanapiyatissa during that period was the closest friend of Emperor Ashoka. One thing is that although there are other Buddhist countries than Sri Lanka, the Buddha visited to Sri Lanka 3 times. That's the only country where Buddha visited.
बुद्धा विजिटर्स इन श्रीलंका
3 times.
आज हम आपको मिलवाने जा रहे हैं श्रीलंका के एक प्रमुख बौद्ध विद्वान, इतिहासकार, राजनेता माननीय डॉक्टर विजयदासा राजपक्षे, प्रेसिडेंट काउंसिल श्रीलंका, सीनियर वाइस ऑफ जस्टिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिफॉर्म एंड एजुकेशनल सीनियर वाइस चेयरमैन। वे श्रीलंका में एक प्रतिष्ठित वकील, राजनेता और गहन बौद्ध विचारक हैं। उन्होंने कोलंबो विश्वविद्यालय से संवैधानिक कानून में पीएचडी तथा केलानिया विश्वविद्यालय से बौद्ध दर्शन में पीएचडी प्राप्त की है। डॉक्टर राजापक्षे बौद्ध इतिहास, श्रीलंका की प्राचीन बौद्ध परंपरा और संवैधानिक इतिहास के विद्वान हैं। वे डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी द्वारा रचित भारतीय संविधान की सराहना करते हैं और संवैधानिक मूल्यों को बौद्ध शिक्षाओं से जोड़कर देखते हैं। वे भारत का प्राचीन बौद्ध इतिहास और दुनिया में उसका प्रभाव इस विषय के विशेषज्ञ भी हैं और साथ ही साथ श्रीलंका की संसद के सदस्य भी रह चुके हैं। डॉक्टर राजापक्षे कई बार श्रीलंका में न्याय मंत्री के रूप में सेवा दे चुके हैं। वे शांति, न्याय, समता और बौद्ध मूल्यों के प्रबल समर्थक हैं। बुद्ध जयंती विश्व शांति सम्मेलन 2026 में वे नागपुर पधारे हैं, जहां वे बुद्ध की शिक्षाओं से मानवता और विश्व को बचाने की बात कर रहे हैं। आइए सुनते हैं उनके विचार। बुद्ध की बुद्धिमत्ता ही मानवता को बचा सकती है।
तो दर्शकों, आपका स्वागत है। हम आवाज के इस सेगमेंट से इतिहास की उन गहराइयों को और बारीकों को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं जो सत्य घटनाओं पर और इतिहास में घटित हुआ है। इसी फहरिस्त में आज हमारे साथ डॉक्टर विजयदासा राजपक्षे जी हैं, जो प्रेसिडेंट काउंसिल के मेंबर भी है और विभिन्न सब्जेक्ट पे पीएचडी भी है और स्कॉलर भी है। सर, वेलकम यू। व्हाट इज योर फर्स्ट रिएक्शन इन यू विजिट इन होली लैंड? This is a land of Buddha because Dr. Ambedkar embraced and revival in Buddhism this land. What is your first reaction, sir?
In fact, that I have visited India several times. I cannot remember the times, and I have visited every important place where the Lord Buddha had been there historically, and I have been visiting here also because that we have a very high regard to Dr. Ambedkar. For 2 reasons. The one thing is that thanks to Dr. Ambedkar that India is, existing as a one country because of the constitution he drafted.
Yes.
He is the architect of Indian constitution. He was fighting with some people and somehow he wanted to ensure that there won't be any division in India. It was successful. Secondly, Dr. Ambedkar was a staunch devotee of Buddhism. In fact, that he declared openly that he embraced Buddhism in 1950, just after he participated International Buddhist Conference in Kandy, Sri Lanka.
Yes.
In fact, that I got the opportunity also on invitation. I delivered this memorial lecture when President Prime Minister Modi declared that his birthday as a date of celebration, 16th April. I delivered his memorial lecture in Bombay University in 2016. We feel like that our hometown when we come here. It looks that there is some bond between people in Sri Lanka and Nagpur.
You quote about Ambedkar. Ambedkar thought is a very deeply roots
Yeah.
also over there. Ambedkar writing a Buddha and future of Dhamma also there.
Yeah.
Ambedkar quoting King King Ashoka period and Indo-Greek culture and Hellenistic culture.
Yeah.
What is a deep rooted between connection with Sri Lanka and India over there in ancient age of just like a Hindi telling a word is a Swarnim Bharat. That's called in Hindi manuscript and most of the Ashokan manuscript over there incorporate is this word Swarnim Bharat, like a golden age of India.
Yeah. In fact, what you said is correct.
Yeah.
It is not only our opinion. The world historians have recognized, accepted the most righteous emperor who had ruled a country in this world was Emperor Ashoka.
Okay.
The Emperor Ashoka's history is complete in Sri Lanka. I feel that we are having more data. Ashoka and his ruling, there were several reasons for it. One thing is that although there are other Buddhist countries than Sri Lanka, the Buddha visited to Sri Lanka 3 times. That's the only country where Buddha visited.
Buddha visitors in Sri Lanka.
3 times.
What is the evidence behind this?
We have chronicles. In fact, that our history is very long, commencing from at least commencing from the date of the passing away of the Buddha, Parinirvana. Everything had been chronically written down
Okay.
in the books.
Okay.
One is a very authoritative book, that is Mahavansha.
Mahavansha.
Yeah. The other one is Tulavansha. Even in Indian history, that there are gaps where that certain things have not been written. That the Indian are taking the data from our history to fill the gaps here.
Okay.
Therefore, that we are certain about the Ashoka's period and what he has done. The other reason is that he had a very strong connection with Sri Lanka because our king Devanapiyatissa during that period was the closest friend of Emperor Ashoka. After having that Dhamma Council, the third Dhamma Council,
Third Dhamma
Sanghayana,
Council. Yeah.
he decided to send delegation to 9 countries
Okay.
in Asia.
Okay.
In that, he chose his own son, Arhat Mahinda,
Yes.
should lead the delegation to Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Then, few years later, once the Buddhism is established, his own daughter, Sangamita Thero, was sent to Sri Lanka with a branch of Sri Mahabodhi.
Oh yes.
He has not, extended that much of support to any other country than Sri Lanka. That is because of that, historically we had a very close affiliation, friendship in between especially the rulers of
Yes.
both countries.
After Maurya Empire, we most of the books said about Sangam age, just like a belt, delta of the Krishna, Godavari, and Kaveri in India river, holy river over there. Just like a Chol kingdoms, Pandyan kingdoms,
Yeah.
and Chera. Most of the gold coin founding in Sri Lanka. And most of the that time Sri Lanka currency in archaeological survey and survey of India founding in South India.
Yeah.
What is the connection with trade and like this economics and political over
In
there?
fact, that the trade had been there throughout very strongly because they are the 2 closest countries, and it was very conveniently, have the exchange like the barter system.
Okay.
The Indian goods are given to Sri Lanka and Sri Lankan goods to India. And a lot of Indian traders came there for that spices,
Yes.
then the ivories, elephant ivories, and various things. In addition to that, of course, European people also started in 16th century, at the beginning of 16th century. That, of course, this India and Sri Lanka both were subject to colonial ruling
Yes.
for almost 450 years. we had a very strong bond with India, even that during that period. And in fact, that from the South India, there were several invasions.
Hmm.
Some Pandya, Chola, some rulers invaded Sri Lanka, and some
Okay.
parts have been under their control. But all our connections were with India. For example, that the tooth relic, which is now deposited in Kandy,
Yes.
Dalada temple, tooth relic temple, that came from Kalinga.
Okay.
Kalinga Desha means today's that I think Orissa.
Yes. You are also scholar, sir. What is the which book prefer to youth in Indian youth? That's they become the history decoder over there. Most of the big books, encroachment and all these things over there in allegation over there in history, not properly rewrite and reconstruction over there. Which books prefer, sir?
I think that the Mahavansha is the best authority on it. Now we have translated that to in English also. I'm not sure whether that had been translated to Hindi. I can check that and let you know. The Mahavansha is always accurate. In addition to that, there is Chulavansha, there is a Bodhivansha,
Okay.
and so many other books also. But as the most authoritative book, we consider is the Mahavansha.
Okay. One name is in white Buddha called in Sri Lanka, Henry Alcott,
Yeah.
designed Panchashila flag
Yeah.
and coming from Europe and serving Sri Lankan peoples. What is the connection with Buddha thoughts?
The Buddhism was spread all over the world now.
Yeah.
That happened at 3 stages. The first stage was the Buddha himself, together with first 60 disciples, they started his journey going across length and breadth of whole India, preaching the Dhamma. Started with 60, but later on it was, that numbers went up drastically. I think maybe up to millions monks in India. Then with all that, Buddhism was established only in India.
Yes.
That is the first stage. The second stage, Buddhism went to Asia.
After that.
No, that is after the third Dhamma Council,
Okay.
Sanghayana, 236 years later, after the passing away of the Buddha, Emperor Dhammasoka had that Sanghayana, that is Dhamma Council. He decided to send 9 delegations, Buddhist monks, to 9 Asian countries. Sri Lanka, then Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia. Then when he decided to send 9 delegations, he gave the preference to Sri Lanka. Therefore, his own son, Arahant Mahinda Thero's delegation was sent to Sri Lanka. Then after some time, as I told you, this with the sapling of Sri Mahabodhi, his own daughter went to Sri Lanka. Both lived Sri Lanka until their death. That means you can understand the Emperor Ashoka had how much of affiliation to Sri Lanka.
Yes.
To send his both children there during their whole lifetime they spent in Sri Lanka.
Spiritual connection.
Spiritual connection. Then that is the second stage where the Buddhism was disseminated in Asian region. The thirdly, now it has gone to the world. When you look at the history as to how the Buddhism disseminated to the whole world, your question, answer to your question will be the
Yes.
the best answer.
Just like coming Henry Alcott over there.
That's right.
Yeah.
What happened was we were under the colonial ruling for exactly 445 years. Then they did firstly Portuguese, secondly Dutch, Holland, thirdly English.
Okay. And Mughal Empire not over there.
No,
Okay.
no, not Mughal. Then what happened was that all those invaders, they came for 2 reasons. First thing is to take our all these assets or the products, everything.
Encroachment all there.
Yeah, because of that, they wanted to have the power just to exploit all our, that assets. Secondly, or similarly, their other purpose was to, establish the Catholic religion and to eliminate Buddhism. They did every possible thing to eliminate Buddhism. They may have killed several lakhs of people.
Okay.
Monks were killed, small children were killed, because they believed so long as these Buddhist monks are there, they can't control the country the way that they wanted.
Okay.
Therefore, there was so much of destruction, but they couldn't do it. But still, we preserved. In 1865, there was a debate going on for about a couple of years. That is in between Buddhist monks and Catholic priests. They started criticizing that the Buddhism is a useless thing. Our monks retaliated. Then they invited for a debate, public debate, dialogue. Then our monks took the challenge. It was there for a couple of months. That is called Panadura Vade. That happened in Panadura. That is the sub-city near Colombo.
Okay.
That is called Panadura Vade.
Okay.
Then two monks, great monks, Ikkaduwesi Sumangala Thero and Migattuwatte Gunananda Thero, two monks, they took the challenge. For months that they were debating with Catholic priests, finally they couldn't answer to any of the questions asked by our monks. Henry Olcott was a colonel in US Army.
Colonial period.
Yes, this is 1865. Then he didn't believe any religion. He said all the religions are myth, false.
Okay.
He started an association called Theosophical Society.
Okay.
That means no religion.
After that, Asiatic Society converted in
Later on.
Later on.
Yeah. Then that was Theosophical Society was in USA. Then he heard the news that there had been a debate in between Buddhism and Catholicism, and superb things have, that he has been impressed the way the Buddhism has been expressed by our monks. Then he wanted to come and see them. He came to Sri Lanka. When he decided to come to Sri Lanka, Blavatsky, Princess Blavatsky from Russia, she also wanted to join. She also came. Both came to Gold Port, then came and met our Buddhist monks. They studied Buddhism. They were convinced. They became Buddhists.
Oh.
Then he started the Buddhist campaign. First, he started 3 Buddhist schools. The topmost 3 schools
in Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka, Colombo Ananda, Gol Mahinda College, Kandy Dharmaraja College. He is the one who started 3 Buddhist schools for the person. Now they are the biggest 3 schools in Sri Lanka. By that time, that British people had prohibited us to celebrate Vesak. You can't even light a lamp in the name of the Buddhism. It was prohibited by a gazette. Then he fought it. He was fighting with that British emperor. He said that don't do it, you will have to remove it. Finally, in 1883 or 84, then they were compelled to declare that Vesak as a holiday. That is how we got the Vesak. Then there was a committee appointed to design a Buddhist flag in 1885, first time that we displayed this Buddhist flag.
Okay. Wow.
Now over 80 countries that they are using this Buddhist flag. Then as a result of Colonel Henry Olcott's attempt to safeguard the Buddhism, there was one leader who followed him. That is Anagarika Dharmapala. In early 1990s, the Indian didn't know most. I don't think even 100,000 Buddhists were there in India. There were no Buddhist people in India. He came to India in search of Buddhism. He wanted to know where is the Bodh Gaya.
Yeah.
He couldn't find.
After that, Anagarika Dharmapala going in Bodh Gaya.
Then the whole thing was, the sand hill.
Yes.
Everything had been covered during
Yes.
the Mughal.
Yes.
He explored the thing. Then he found it. Then one Hindu Mahanta, the Pujaka, came and he said that is his.
Hmm.
Then there was a litigation. Finally, that he won the case. Then only it was recognized and accepted. It's a sacred place. So
Now
Buddhas.
present circumstances over there in a court in under trial process over
Eh,
there.
that is true.
Most of the Buddhist demand in capture in Buddhism and all monks in Buddhist over there in
Correct.
condition over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then because of Anagarika Dharmapala only, that Buddhism was again, restarted, rejuvenated in
Okay.
Indian, that's Mahabharat days. Then there, in the meantime, he opened the first temple in Asia, in Europe.
Yeah.
London International Buddhist Vihara in London.
You just tell one word is delivered Mahabharat. What is the
Mahabharat.
mean the Mahabharat? Maha means big,
Yeah,
and over there in Bharat in India,
yeah.
that is a Mahabharat.
There are different versions, but what we believe in that during the Buddha's period, this
Yeah.
is known as Mahabharata.
Mahabharat,
Mahabharata.
like a big
country.
country.
According to what I have heard or they read in the books, even this, of course, the Pakistan. Those days, Mahabharat means India, that included Pakistan,
Yes, yes.
Bangladesh, even a part of the Afghanistan. And going up to this, that there had been, to a certain extent, I think, to close up onto Turkey.
Hmm.
It had been a huge country, Mahabharat. Even Nepal,
Ending point of Silk Road.
Silk Road.
Yeah.
That's right. Then that is the first Buddhist temple started in 1880s in London. Still that temple is there. Now thereafter only all the others thought of establishing temples in Europe. Now in the entire Europe and America there are over 2000 temples.
Okay.
Most of the temples I think from Japan, China, Vietnam, like that. In Sri Lankan temple also, I think at least over 500 Buddhist temples are there in America and USA. That is how the Buddhism went to the world. That is the third stage.
Yes.
The first in Bharata,
Yeah.
second in Asia, third in the world. The Sri Lankan took the Buddhism to the world. And also the Buddhism was preserved because of the Sri Lankan monks. Is in the first BC century, there was a serious invasion by South Indians.
Okay.
Then there was a lot of drought and famine, food shortage. A lot of Buddhist monks and people were dying. At that time, our monks feared that this Buddhism will disappear in the world. Thereafter, they gathered all together in Aluvihare temple in Matale, central province of Sri Lanka. They wrote the entire Dhamma in 84,000 chapters.
Okay.
They wrote on Ola leaf. Ola leaf means,
Which language? Which language?
Pali.
Pali.
Yeah. You know that palm tree. They get the palm tree and they clean up and get as leaves.
In Hindi, that's called a Tambrapatra. And
Tambrapatra.
Tambrapatra.
Dharmapala, correct. Then we call as in the Talpata. In Sinhala we say Talpata. In English say Ola leaf. They wrote 84,000 chapters for a couple of years. They wrote.
Okay.
That is called Tripitaka. That means Tripitaka canon.
Three basket.
3 baskets. That is Dhamma, Vinaya, Abhidhamma. Vinaya Pitakaya, Abhidhamma Pitakaya, Sutta Pitaka. The three canons were there, including 84,000 chapters.
Yes.
That was later on taken, the copies of them were taken by Mahayana countries, China, Japan. They translated that to Sanskrit.
Yes.
That is how Buddhism preserved. If not for that writing, scripting the Dhamma, I think by this time that nobody in the world knows that there had been a religion or Buddha, somebody called Buddha.
Yeah. Yes. Sir, my last question over there. Most of the Indian city, like in South India, like Vishakhapatnam, most of the people gossip over there. Vishakha going in Sri Lanka, that's called Vishakhapatnam.
Yeah.
More Sannati, Ashoka die in Sannati, that's called a Sannati.
Yeah.
Tanjavur, there
Yeah.
over there different history.
Correct.
What is your view? What is the name, history of name, city and connection between Sri Lanka and India?
Of course, this Visakha that is a Buddhist name. The chief Upasika, that's the one of the chief Upasikas of Buddha was Visakha. In fact, that the name should have been commenced during the period of Dhammasoka, because there is another important factor. After the Mahaparinirvana, all the relics were taken into 8 pots. You know, heard
Yes,
about that?
Yes, yes.
Then that were distributed among the blood relation of the Buddha, like that Kapilavastu, Sakyan, Vaishala, Lichavi,
Mallas.
Ramagama, Kolya,
Ramgram.
Mallas in Kushinagar. Likewise, that was distributed to 8 princes and kings.
Yes.
They took over, and they went. Thereafter, after several months or years, Arahant Mahakashyapatero went and met King Ajasatta. Then he told King Ajasatta that I have a fear, while having all these people, because of the distribution of all these relics, someday they will disappear. The people, devotees, in 1,000 years later will not be able to worship them. We'll have to take some precaution. Then king asked what is to be done. Then he said, you better collect it, except one pot that was in Kolyas in Ramagam. Don't take it, because in the future there will be a Mahasaya, the biggest Dagaba will be built, the main Dagaba for the whole world in Lankadeepa. Okay, you keep it there, don't touch it. Take the other 7 and put up a new Dagaba and deposit it. Then King Ajasatta went and met all those people and collected 6 pots. Then he built Maharajika Chaitya, that is in Gandharva Desh, presently Pakistan. Gandhara.
Afghanistan and Pakistan.
That's right. Then now in Pakistan, I went to see that place.
Ganishka capital.
Yeah. Thereafter, then all these 7 pots were deposited there. Then after the 3rd Dhamma Council, there was another same name, Mahakashyapa Mahatero, who was the advisor to Emperor Dhammasoka. He told, now no purpose of keeping those relics there. You better open it and you better build everywhere the temples and dagabs. Then he established 84,000.
Okay.
Taking the numbers of the chapters of the Tripitaka.
Okay.
He built 84,000 temples and religious institutions in Mahabharata.
Yeah.
And for the important places, he gave those relics. That is how that relics was distributed all over. Okay. But the biggest one, that is 1/8 pot in Sri Lanka, that is Ruwanalisaya. Okay. It was taken from Kolyas in Ramagama.
तो इतिहास को हम खोजने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, उन बिंदुओं को समझने की कोशिश कर रहे थे जो इतिहास में घटित हुआ है। बुद्धा के वचन हैं, परियत्ति, परिपट्टि, प्रतिवेदन। इन फार्मूलों के आधार पर अगर से आप इतिहास की कोई भी किताबों को खोजते हैं तो आपको उन सारी यथार्थ को आपको नजरों के सामने देखा जा सकता है कि जो सत्य में घटना पे आधारित है, जो ट्रूथ है और जो यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ है। सर, वेरी थैंकफुल, प्रेस्टिजियस डायलॉग विथ अस, एंड थैंक यू सर।
वेलकम।
थैंक यू।